Well, welcome back to the channel, guys, and what a perfect day to start doing a diesel heater install. I mean, you couldn't have asked for it, could you? Don't really get a lot of snow in this part of the world, but we have today. Anyway, we've been, in the other video, we've been talking about doing that room. Now I'm going to move next door, and this is going to be eventually a storeroom. Now what the plan is I am going to be installing a diesel heater in here. This is going to be where we store everything, and where that board is, that's roughly where this room's going to end, and the next part of it is going to be sort of sorted out. But we're going to build a partition wall up here, and this is be where we store everything. You can see everything at the moment is just scattered around everywhere, so we're trying to sort of make everything a little tiny bit more organised. Anyway, that's not what the video is about. What we're going to do is we've got a diesel heater here, got a jerry can which is going to be the fuel tank bracket, but for the moment what we're going to do is we're going to start building the wall and work out where the diesel heater is actually going to sit. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to build some sort of framework, sort of have some legs off the ground. Obviously the exhaust is going to go underneath it, and then have a little platform above it. And what I want to do is that will probably take up to, you know, that sort of area there. It won't be huge. Coming down, you vent into there, teeing off into that vent there, so that I go into that room. That's the room. This room doesn't need to be warmed, although probably the exhaust will have a little bit of an effect in here. Obviously the exhaust will be going out, it won't be venting into this room. And I want it to be as tidy and as inoffensive as possible, because we're going to use this as a storeroom as well, so you don't want things to get damaged. So that's what we're going to do. Now the controls, obviously we're going to be in this room, so I will have to take the controls through to there, so that may mean cutting and resoldering the wires as well, so the controller is in that side, because you don't want to be coming into the in this room, which will be a separate door, obviously, because that'll be a separate locked door, and the last thing you want to have to do is come in here every time. So that is the plan. I'm going to start building up a framework now, and we'll come back when I've done the framework, and hopefully it'll work. We'll see. I'm winging it, as you can tell. Well, here we are. There's the basic frame cut out. I tried doing it by hand initially, but my cutting skills with a handsaw aren't the best. Lots of irregular angles. Now, I've got one of these. You probably don't need to use it, but I've used it on a lot of times when I'm doing van builds and things like that, and decking. I've used it to make sure the squares are right. And I got it, so I thought, well, why not? So it's quite easy. I'll just show you roughly how it works. So we know how we're going to do our corners. So we'll just basically unscrew this and put them in here. So we're just going to get them all tidied up. We'll take these two out of the way a moment. Now hopefully you can see this. So I'll just screw that back in. And the final product is, hopefully, a nice square angle. You can see that's all. Just make sure it's all perfect before you start. You know, hopefully you can see all that. And what it does, it just makes everything, so I've put 2 screws in there now, and that is going to make that frame just a bit tidier, really. Depends, you know, if you want to do it by hand and balance it on the floor, entirely up to you. But I think sometimes when you've got these things available to you, you might as well do them. Now I'm hoping these screws ain't going to split the wood. Now if they do, we're going to have to drill everything. Let's see what happens. Ooh, I can hear splitting. Let's have a look. Yeah, split the wood, innit? So, what we'll do is we'll get a drill and we'll drill holes first of all before we do the rest. Now, I won't take that apart at the moment. I'll put the second one down. It has split, but I think we'll be all right. But we won't risk it for any more. So there you are. Drill a hole first. So I'm back with a drill, and after a lesson learned, we'll drill the second hole. Takes 2 seconds longer, doesn't it? Get our screw. And there you are, that's gone in, and you can see no splits. So lesson learnt for me, really, innit? And we'll carry on doing that, and I'll show you the final product. And there you are, that is the basic frame. We'll drill 2 holes in the back there, and that will sit, be bolted to the wall, and that will take our diesel heater. I mean, maybe it's a bit overkill. Space for the exhaust to come down and go out through the wall, and it'll be nice and tidy. I'm no carpenter, but hopefully that's a substantial build. We'll put a piece of ply on the top of that and attach it to ply and drill the hose when we're ready to put the diesel heater on. So we just look here, it'll mount somewhere here like that, and that's where the diesel heater will sit. And we'll just make sure we got enough space for the vent to come down to there, and it'll also tee off to another position behind you, and that will screw into the wall, and that's going to be a nice substantial mounting. It's not going to be loose. Yeah, it's cold still. Cold still, it's not going to warm up, is it? At a later stage I intend to have a solar panel on the roof, and we're going to have a bank of batteries that will be in a box which I'll continue on this side, so we'll have all the electrics and everything going to that side. Now the reason I want a solar panel is because I want all the garden lights and water features as we come to them, and we'll show you this as we do it, ought to be 12 volt, and I think having everything 12 volt just saves a little bit of electricity, doesn't it? It's not going to do huge amounts, but it's doing our little bit. Anyway, so that's where we are. The next thing to do is I'll put 2 hose in here, and then we'll work out exactly where we're going to have it all mounted to. But the first thing I'm going to do is I've got to mark off the ply before we drill the hose, because it'd be very difficult to put the hose in afterwards. Okay, so this is the frame. The base is cut out, but first of all what we're going to do is I'm drilling hose. Now I've made sure it's level that way and level that way. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these type of fixings. I'm not really sure what they're called. It says in the box. But we'll put them in. We have an Amazon shop on our other channel, so I'll start up a folder in the shop of everything we think is useful on this channel, so you can pop into our shop, and I'll put a link down below, and you'll be able to purchase it if you need it. If you know, and I will have put down what they're actually called. But this is, you know, if anybody knows me and follows me over channel, you know I'm not a DIYer at all. My thing is cars and vans and travelling and technology, really. Technology is coming over to this channel, as is DIY. And I am not the happiest person doing DIY. But anyway, let's get on with it. So we've drilled a hole through. And then we just carefully hold that one in place. And then we're just going to knock that one in. Now I've gone at a slight angle. Is it because I'm crap, or is it because I can't do it any other way? I don't know. But apparently you hammer these in, or point, and then you just screw the rest of them in. Now I'm not going to screw it in tightly yet until I'm absolutely sure we're perfectly level. That's looking good that way. And that is looking good that way. Because what the last thing I want to do is I want to screw it in and then find out I've done it wrong. So we'll screw this one in, and then we'll do the other one. And that's going to be more difficult than I thought, so I'm going to have a different screwdriver to that. We'll get the other one drilled first, and then we'll get a better screwdriver. So again, about here, take the drill off hammer. That is off hammer, isn't it? Yeah, that is off hammer. Don't go through wood very well. You should really use a wood drill, but I'm not. We'll just put the other fix in then. I'm afraid, I'm sorry about the sniffing. It's so cold, and I've got such a snotty nose. Not that you want to know that, but unfortunately. So same again. And before we do it up tight, and we'll screw it in, and that'll be the frame. And then from there, we start mounting the diesel heater and working up where everything's going to go. So there we are. That's our little mount. Mate, that's going nowhere. That's a perfect place to start, isn't it? I know this is about installing a diesel heater in your garage, in your living room, in your outside living space, whatever. But we needed something substantial for it to start, and I also, you don't want to be able to, I don't know, someone's here and they want to grab something. You got that hot exhaust, so I'm probably going to put a gauze across the front of there. I'm not sure really what yet. Maybe something like they put on a car grill or something, you know, just to stop people shoving their hand in when it's on. People can be silly. Unneeded. Anyway, the next thing to do is unbox the diesel heater and sort of start offering things up and working out where everything's going to go. Like a lot of people, I bought it on online. This would actually come from AliExpress. Lots of different places you can buy them. eBay, Amazon. Why did I buy this on AliExpress? I don't know really. I was looking for a Bluetooth one, and this is the Bluetooth one I found. So this is the first time I've looked at it, to be honest. A Sunstar, never heard of it. But that's your heater. So that'll be sitting somehow like that. So we won't, obviously it won't be on its side, but something like that. In here we got a diesel pump. Now there's also this, I bought this as an 8 kilowatt, and amazingly enough, I've been doing a lot of reading, and there isn't such a thing as an 8 kilowatt diesel heater. Well, there may be, but these aren't. What they're doing is they're sending you larger pumps. Now this one has actually got 22 millilitres on it, but the 8 kilowatt ones apparently are coming with 28 millilitres on, marked on here. And yes, it does burn hotter for a little while, but apparently a lot of people are having issues with the unit coking up. So it's probably not a good idea. So stick for the 5 kilowatt and see how you get on. I'm sure bigger ones will come out eventually properly, or pay a bit more money for a known brand that is you can guarantee if you can. You know. So there's your pump. There's a control unit. Now that'll be in the other room. Now the reason I like it is because it's got a nice dial on it. Got a remote control should you want to use remote control. Looks quite tidy. But it's also Bluetooth as well, so we'll show you the Bluetooth at the very end. When it's all been installed, we'll show you Bluetooth and show that all that happening. So that's in that side, and in this side we got all our fixtures and fittings. Hopefully, let's have a look in here. Got a T-piece, which we're gonna obviously need because we want to go to 2 hose. We got 1 vent. We've had to purchase another vent because we're gonna have 2 vents. You got your fuel pipe. Exhaust. We got a little bit of this hose, but we have ordered more because we think we're going to need more. Well, don't think, we know we're going to need more. So that's been ordered. Exhaust pipe, wiring, and all your other bits and pieces there. So the first thing we're going to have to do really is we're going to have to work out where the diesel heater is going to fit. Oh, and there's a fuel tank in as well. However, we're not going to use that fuel tank. I'll just put this out of the way. There's a fuel tank there as well. But we're not going to use that fuel tank. What we're going to do is we're going to use a jerry can, which will hold 20 litres. That's 10 litres. So that's not a bad size. But we're going to use a 20 litre jerry can on the outside. It'll be it's metal, so it'll just be a little bit tougher because it's actually going to be mounted on the outside of the wall. I don't want the diesel stored inside, purely because of smell. I think that's about it. So that is not needed, and then we got the plate for the bottom of the diesel here, and that is what we're going to use as our template as well for drilling the hose. So we're going to get on with that now. And then once we've done that, we'll look at having a diesel heater in place and working out all our pipes and where they're going to go and how we're going to power it. So we're getting there. I mean, it don't take very long. I'm taking longer because I'm being a bit pedantic and on what I'm doing. But I reckon you could have a diesel heater up and running in an hour. You know, if it was just on a Black & Decker workmate, I suppose, outside, so you were just testing it. I know a lot of people do that. Anyway, let's get on with this and see how we get on. Right, here's a little tip. I've just drilled the hose for the exhaust and the air vent, and I didn't drill them big enough. So let's just brush them that away a minute. So you can see, I tried drilling it without anything to support the centre of the drill, and it made quite a mess. And I had this brainwave, probably people know about this anyway, but I've screwed a piece of wood below so I can actually put the drill in and centre him up. Now I might have an issue with that screw there, so I'm going to take one screw out, which hopefully isn't going to have a detrimental effect. And I think if I go very carefully, it'll tidy it up rather than make a mess. A little bit more. Just drink it not the punch. And we'll do the same again there, just widen it very slowly. And I thought it was a little bit of a mess on the edge there. You can see that one there. Did it really well, didn't it? So hopefully now everything's going to go through fine. And there we are, all back together, plate in. Now hopefully we're just going to offer up the diesel heater and it's going to slot right in. It's never the way though, is it? But we'll see. So there we are. Well, there you go, that. So there we are, that's the diesel heater, that's how it's going to mount. I can feel enough meat underneath to put the screws on to hold it into that. We've obviously got to put a fuel pipe and everything else onto it, but that's how it's going to go. Now it's a shame about this cable coming out this side, but it is what it is. We'll have to take it down, around and go in that way. Not a biggie, just one of these things. So it's looking good, isn't it? Quite pleased with that. So we've got the diesel heater in place. I've got the fuel pipe connected to the diesel heater. I've still got to do the air vent and all the other bits and pieces that are coming through walls and things like that. So you'll see that as we go along. Now the next thing we move on to is the fuel pump. Now I'm going to bring this in really close to you so you can see. Hopefully you can see that there's got an arrow on it, the direction of flow. So that's obviously flowing to the diesel heater. So be aware of that when you're doing it. And the more you read online, people say you've got to have it at an angle. I think it's about 30 degrees. Most people are agreeing that's the angle. But I will, down below, I will make sure I know what angle it's going to be. I'm going to mount the pump. It mounts in this bracket here. You can see that bracket. So let's just show you a rough mock-up of how it's going to be. It's quite snug. Always is when you're talking, and don't try it beforehand, isn't it? Let's get this on. Oh, he's tight. Right, just bear with me a minute, folks. There he is, he's on. So I'm going to mount him here. Now, that's going to give me the option to be able to turn the angle that way or turn the angle that way, should I need to. Once it's set, it should be fine, but some people are saying different angles might have different effects. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to make sure that's fine. We'll mount that just there, and the fuel will come through the wall there, and it's going to go into a jerry can. Now, if I turn you around, this is a jerry can I bought, and what we'll be doing is we'll be taking the feed down through there, so the pipe will go into the tank. So we'll have a tank, so the pipe so it sits, I don't know, about an inch before it runs out completely. So we not get, if there's any rubbish in there, we don't drop any rubbish. I may even at some stage see if we can't get a filter to go onto it to stop pulling up anything. But this is a brand new jerry can, so everything should be fine. So that will go through there. And what I will be doing is I'll be having a, as you can see there, can you see that? A grommet. So the grommet will sit in there and the pipe will go through that. So hopefully it'll be really nice and snug and there'll be no water going through it. But I'll probably put a little tiny sealant around it as well, just to be absolutely sure. So we'll come back in a little while and I'll show you how we're getting on. But we've got to drill some holes now. So I think we all know how to drill holes, don't we? And if you don't, do you want me to do a video on how to drill a hole? I don't think you do you? Right. Back soon. Okay, so let's show it. Here we are, a little bit further on. The pump is connected. You can see that pipe outside has not been done yet. I'll drill a hole through there yet, but I've just drilled the hole. You can see the drill that I use. If we come down, I'm just going to get the camera adjusted. You can see there, I've drilled a hole to the outside, and we'll feed the exhaust out through there. Clean it all up again because it makes a lot of dust when you're doing this. Got one hole left to drill out. I've drilled a hole through to the next room, and that's where we're going to take the cables for the controller, although I've got to extend the controller cables because I've either got to drill a really big hole or just extend the cables, and that's what I'll do. I'll extend the cables and then join them on this side. Not hard to do. I'll show you what I do, but I'm sure you know how to do that. So I'm going to get the exhaust all sorted out now, and it won't be long, I don't think, till we can have just a temporary diesel tank in here and getting powered up and make sure it all works. So we'll need a battery and a few other bits and pieces, but it won't take long now, I don't think. Okay, so we're down to the nitty gritty now. I'm just like tightening bits and pieces up. But what I am going to do is I'm going to put some fire gum around the exhaust, just to make sure it's completely sealed. I'm getting down under here now, so I'll show you what I've done in a minute. Right, so everything's tightened up under there now. You can see the exhaust going outside, and we got the air filter. A lot of people take it outside, but I don't want it next to the exhaust. So because we're heating a different room, I'm going to have it in here. We'll see how it goes. Might be the wrong way to do it, I don't know. But what we're going to do now is get the venting temporarily going into that one, because I've ordered some more venting up, because we've got to go here as well, so we'll have I'll be going down through there as well, so 2 vents will be going into the room next door. That's what it's all about. So what I've got to do now is I've got to get a battery, just trying to think what I've got to do, and some fuel, and we'll get him primed up and test him. So we'll do that next. I'll just put a temporary hose on the front of him just for now. Okay, so we've temporarily connected up the diesel heater to a battery. This will be the battery I'm using, and we'll do a better connection. But what I want to do now is I want to make sure before we put the tank outside that everything is running properly. So we've got diesel here, so we're going to just put the fuel line into the diesel. Obviously this is not something you do long term, because it's not best, but what we're going to do is put that in there. So we have this new controller, connected it all up temporarily at the moment. So the first thing we want to do is we want to prime the pump. Now I've had a look online and I couldn't find any information about it at all, so I resorted to reading the manual, these horrible Chinese manuals, and I think I've deciphered it. So what we're going to do is we're going to try, I think what we're going to do is, I'm going to bring this into the camera, we're going to hold this one here, the fuel pump, we're going to hold that one and then press the on button, and it doesn't work. Let's hold it and see what happens if we maintain the pressure. Nothing. So we'll do it the other way. We'll power on and then we'll hold the
start heating.
Keep holding the fuel pump sign. That's doing nothing as well, is it? This is the frustration with these Chinese manuals. So how about if I hold them both together while it's starting up? That's not doing anything, is it? So we'll just power it.
Stop heating. Thanks for using. I wish you a safe journey.
So it says, I'm going to read it again and try and decipher it. I'll come back to you. I was right. So I'm just going to hold this again. So it says press and hold that button. There is no other button. It says the lower left. Yeah, it's definitely the only one. Just look around. Yeah, it's definitely the only one. So it definitely says hold the lower left key during the power on process. So hopefully you can see that. So there's the 2 buttons. You can see that button and you can see that button. So power on process and holding the key.
Start heating.
And you're waiting for a P to appear. Don't know how long you're meant to wait. It's certainly not happening, is it? Power them off again. Right, so we're going to try again. I can see it, you can see it. And you can see the screening. You can see what I'm looking at. It's funny, isn't it? Right, so hold the button first, then try to power on. That doesn't work, does it? Okay, so power on, hold the P.
Start heating.
So we're holding it, as you can see. Something changed then, didn't it? But nothing. We're expecting to see a P. Nope.
Stop heating. Thanks for using. I wish you a safe journey.
Please tell me how to do it. It's all about safe journey. Okay, so we're going to try again.
Start heating.
And we'll release when we see that change. It was somewhere around there, wasn't it? Nope. So I'm going there. Seriously, you're going through 10, 22 years. Now, apparently, also that's a good thing to have. Okay, on. So that acts like a thermostat. That also set in there. It still doesn't give us what we want, or does it? That takes us back. Let's go back to the pump. Well, I can hear it trying to prime. But I think that's when it's starting up. I don't think that is the primer working. No, I don't think that's right.
Stop heating.
Well, we have a thing here. I've tried starting to find a way of priming it again, and it seems to be priming on its own this time, which is quite strange. You can see on the controller, you can see there that the pump is green for fuel going to the device. So I'm hoping startup failure. So I think we probably not got the fuel through in time. So we'll let that settle down, and hopefully next time it'll work. So I fired him up again, and he's priming. So we're just waiting for the unit to actually burst into life. I suppose we need to have a bit of temperature, don't we? Don't know if we can do that. Set it. So room's at 11, and I put it up to 19. Obviously it's a room next door, so at the moment doesn't quite correspond, but it will correspond once we've moved it all in. Hopefully this time it's going to fire into life. That's sounding a bit more promising. So the heater's actually gone off at the moment. That is actually working. There's warm air coming in next door. This is, like I said, a very, very temporary setup at the moment. The tank's going to go outside, but the diesel heater, as it is, it's going to be pretty much like it is there. So I'm feeling quite happy. If I was to, you can feel the warmth on that pipe. And you've got that new smell now. I'd imagine. I just want to check everything's good underneath, so you can look at with me at the same time. All looks good. That all looks very good. So I'm pleased with that. Now we're going to just get the Bluetooth connected on the app, because I messed around with the settings and I've lost it on the app, so we're going to do that next. And there you can see we're connected by the app. We've got stable combustion, automatic level mode. That's probably what we want, automatic level mode. So when it reaches a certain temperature, it powers down. You can see the temperature of the battery. So the battery is 12.2 volts. Obviously that's going to drop as we are using it, so we're going to have to put some form of charger on it as well. 138 degrees, I reckon that's going to be the exhaust. And 10 LV, I'm not really sure what 10 LV is. I'll look it up. We go in there, that's all, just takes us into the Bluetooth. That is working. Hopefully you can hear the noise. That's why we're having it in this room, not in the room next door. But if I was to go in the room next door now, we'll just go out and go back there. Stop snowing, by the way. I'm going to come in here, and you can hear, sorry there's no light in here, but you can hear the noise. And that's certainly, that's lovely and warm. That's lovely and warm, that air. So that's going to work really, really well, I think. That's going to warm this room up lovely. So that's it for today. I've pretty much had enough now. So all we're going to do is do the tank outside and get some sort of steady power supply, which we'll do tomorrow, because I've had enough. Well, good morning, and we're back. It's another day. It's cold again. We got the diesel heater running last night, and that was the sort of point where we sort of finished. Now today, what I want to do is I want to take away from the temporary diesel can to plumb in the diesel heater outside, or plumb in the fuel outside. So we've got a jerry can, and we've got a jerry can bracket as well. So it's going to be mounted on the wall outside. Pretty much like a fuel tank on a car, really. I don't think there's going to be any issues with the code in this country, because we can go down quite low before diesel starts getting problematic. And if it does, then we'll have to think about maybe encasing the can in some sort of foam just to protect it a little bit. But I don't think we're going to have that issue. I really don't. Anyway, so the next thing I'm going to do is we got to have a method of obviously filling it. So that's going to be the standard cap, and we'll use that. We'll be buying another can to fill it, and we want the fuel line to come in and go down to the bottom of the tank, pretty much like it has on that one. That's a very basic setup, but you've got the idea. So we'll be drilling a hole and putting a grommet through there. But we'll also, because if you're going to have this lid on, it's going to form a gas tight seal. So we're going to need a vent as well. So I'm going to drill a secondary hole. I'm going to use this kit here that comes with the diesel heater. You can see the fuel takeoff there. And I've ordered up a little motorcycle vent to go on the end of that. And I'll put all the links down below. Well, it'll all go in our Amazon shop at the end of it when it's up and done. But the idea is if you don't vent it, then the suction that will stop the fuel coming through, so you'll have issues. So you do need a vent if you're going to do it this way. So that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to drill the 2 holes and we're going to put the bits and pieces in. Now the vent, I'm going to have the vent above the takeoff. Don't know why. No reasoning to it, but that's the way I think I'm going to do it. So that's our 2 pilot hose. Just so we know we're good before we start increasing the size of the hose. If you're brave enough and want to just go for the big hose, just do it. I'm not saying this is the right way to do it. This is the way I'm doing it. So just being as careful as possible with the swarf. I mean, look how much comes off it. Just don't want. I've got tape inside. You can see that as well. Got tape in there as well. I'm just protecting it as much as I possibly can, because I don't think it caused an issue, but rather than even chance an issue, let's do it properly from the beginning. Now I've got a bit of pipe cut off down there, and that's a grommet I'm going to use. So we've got to slowly build up to the right size. Now, just out of interest, the vent there, that's going to come through the metal line adapter, whatever you want to call it. I'll try and show you there as good as I can in my hand. That's you've got to drill an 8mm hole for that. I've just drew a 7.5mm hole, and it just, if you wanted to thread it, it'd be okay. But if you want to push it through like we do, it's going to be 8mm. So very, very gently, just take it back out. That's that done. Just show you going through, and there you are. So that one will go through, and that's actually going to go the other way. So I'll just show you. That'll be like that, and just below it we'll have a fuel line going in and down through. That's going to be the breather. I'm going to have to take this inside now because it's so cold. The rubber grommet's solid. I'm going to have to warm him up in hot water to make him more malleable to get him in there. So we'll just go do that and then we'll be back. Okay, well, here we are. The 2 holes are drilled now. You can see I've got the takeoff for the vent pipe there up above, and there's the fuel line below. Now, it was an 11mm hole to get the grommet through. I've got a pack of grommets, so I'm afraid I can't tell you what grommet is. Then I had the sudden thought, if you hang a fuel line, it just curls, doesn't it? It doesn't really do anything. So I wanted something to make it drop further. So what I've done, and I mean, maybe a metal pipe would be better. Maybe you could have a metal pipe coming down into the tank. That would be a far better idea. I haven't got that at the moment. So what I've done is I put a pipe clamp on the end of the tube, and I've got 2 nuts. Hell of a simple, really. No lock nuts or anything like that, because I don't want any contaminants getting in there. And that is literally, I'm just going to drop that in very carefully. And that will drop down. And as it goes down, make sure the cable's not twisted in the neck. And it has done. that's the last thing you want to do. And it's, as soon as I say that's the last thing you want to do, it happens. There we have, it's gone. Now you can hear that's actually on the bottom, so I'm going to just pull him back up a little bit. We're doing him still on the bottom. And that's now just... the reason I don't want it right on the bottom is because I don't want it dragging up the sediment. So that's as simple as it's going to be. Now to get that tube through, that grommet, I had to use some silicone spray. It was quite tight, but it's done. Now this will be mounted. We're going to go outside now and we're going to mount the bracket. I'll show you the bracket in a second, and then we'll feed the cable back through into here. And then it's a case of filling this one up with some fuel and firing up the diesel heater again. Obviously we're going to have to prime it again because it's going to have to come a lot further this time. And I said about the cage that's going to mount to the wall. This is it. It's another Amazon item. It was about 23, 24 pound. And it also comes with a piece that you can put over the jerry can to lock the jerry can in place if you're like in a situation where you know, other people may be able to get to your jerry can easily. So you know, not a bad thing. You put a padlock on it and then at least it's there, and they won't be able to unbolt it because the bolts, it just goes there and there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and mount that on the outside, and when that's all done I'll show you the jerry can mounted in place. We'll fuel it up, put the pipe through, and then we'll get priming, and hopefully we'll have it firing up, which would be all good, wouldn't it? Okay, so it's plumbed in now. Still got a little bit of tidying to do, and I think the pipes need to be a bit more purposeful. They're sort of slightly too long in places, but it's working. Now I'll take you around. Well, the snow's melting. You can see where I've plumbed it in. So just going to tidy up the fuel pipe again there as well, and that's where it'll all go in. You can see at the moment we've got an air bubble there, I think it is. Or is it? No, it's just sunlight on it. But that's working fine. It's venting, that's good. Exhaust is going to be finished. You can see I've knocked some plaster off as well, render off, so I'm going to have to do that as well. So things, not to worry. So the next thing I've got to do is I've got to bring, oh, it's slippery still. Got to bring the control unit into this room here. So you can see this is a room, you can see where the vents are going to come through, and the control unit's going to go over where that plug socket is. So I've got to now extend that, and we'll bring that into this room. And that'll really be that part of this job finished, and I'll show you it all fired up in a minute. And maybe what we'll do is we'll do another little video just running through the unit itself properly, rather than this random sort of backwards and forwards I'm doing on this video. Okay, so I said I've got to extend this control line. So what I've done is I've just got 3 cables. I've cut the cable. They're going to add in, I've just soldered these in. I'll put some heat shrink over it to protect it. Then we'll put some cable tape around it, and then at the other end we'll solder it back on the end that I've cut off. He says the end I've cut off, so that'll go on the end, but this will feed through the hole, and then we'll connect it all back up, and hey presto, everything worked. Now cable wires, you just got to be sensible about it. It's easy, you know, come on. We got blue, black and purple there. Well, I haven't got any purple wire, so I've gone blue, black and yellow. Just, you know, whatever you've got. Try not to do it in all the same colour because it will get confusing, and that's how you'll make mistakes. But simple as that. As long as you've got 3 different colours, you know what you're doing. If you're really unsure, write them down, so when you get to the other side you'll be able to do it. Easy as that. We'll put the heat shrink on, put the tape on, and we'll be done. So we've got the heat gun, just make sure all the solder joints are covered, and we just warm it up. There you are. I'm just going to bring the camera down so you can see properly. You can see, there you are, it's all going to heat shrink. Now I'll put some cable tape around it. We'll take it down to the other end. It'll also make it go through the hole easier. Now let's hope this hasn't been affected by the cold, because sometimes I've found that cable tape gets all unsticky when it's been cold. You end up buying new stuff. So we'll see. So I'll come back in a minute when I've done that. So you just literally wind it down. It's strangely satisfying. Takes a little bit of time, but that will be good. I'll come back in a minute. And there you are. Luckily the tape was still sticky, and it's all nicely cable taped even. So now, hopefully you can see me. The hole is here, and we're just going to feed through. I have my trusty bit of wire. It's what I use for everything. I'll just disappear into the next room. You carry on watching there, and you should see it come through. There you are. Cable's come through. Now what we'll do is we'll just attach it with a little bit of tape, and we'll take it back through. So as with everything, you put stuff down and you forget where you've put it. Oh, we'll use a bit of cable tape. Just to attach it. Then you'll gently pull that back through, and then we'll go to the other side and connect everything back up. What we're going to do now is we're going to go into the other side, and we'll re-solder the end on, connect it all back up, then we'll run up the diesel heater and make sure everything works. No reason why it shouldn't, because everything was working beforehand. So we'll see how good my soldering is, won't we? Right, so here we are on the other side now. We have the cable coming from behind you at the moment. The connector. We have our heat shrink, but we don't have our solder, so I've got to go and get the solder. And we're going to put it all together. Now, the first thing you've got to remember is, if you're going to put a heat shrink on when you're joining two wires, make sure you put the heat shrink on before you start soldering. Because if you don't, you're going to go, oh, I needed to put the heat shrink on. Put the heat shrink over. Probably gone overkill there a bit, but it'll get lost in the meantime. I'll go and get some solder. One thing I must say as well while I'm doing all this is I have actually disconnected the power to the diesel heater while we're doing this. So just to make sure we don't short anything out. So it's now a case of just working through systematically, and we remember the yellow goes to the purple wire, don't we? So I'll just get these all connected up and we'll come back when it's all done. These are 3 solders. You notice that one, the heat shrink is started shrinking there. So try and pull it away as far as you can from the actual area that's being soldered. Just get them over. It's a little bit more difficult to enclose it. You can see the yellow heat shrink is really shrunk, but a little bit of wiggling. These over. So we pull them up nice and tight, and then same as before. And finish it off with a little bit of electrical tape, just to make it all really neat and tidy. Ah, there's the tape I was looking for earlier. I'm always putting stuff in my pockets. Right, so exactly the same again. We're just gonna put some tape down. And all we're going to do now is mount this one on the wall where we want him. It's job done. Well, it's all in, and here's the magic moment. I've gone in round and connected it all back up, so you can see it there. So let's see what happens.
Start heating.
That's good news, isn't it? And we can hear it firing up. Well, I'm pleased with that. That's another bit done. Right, I think that's where we'll end this video, and hopefully, it's given you some encouragement to do it for yourself. Maybe you've got an outbuilding that's a bit cold, and you want to put some heating in there. So maybe you've been thinking about putting a diesel heater, but worried about where you're going to put the fuel. You don't want the fuel in the room. So you can put it outside in a jerry can like I did. Maybe you were just worried about how you're going to put it through a wall. You didn't want it in the same room. I've just shown you how to do it, how to extend the cables, and it's not too bad. We will have a battery charger conditioner connected to that battery as well. So obviously it's going to lose power over time, and we don't want that. In a later stage, we will be adding solar out here. So the solar will go into that room. There'll be a solar controller, and it'll be 12 volt. But that'd be mainly for the garden. And there'll be lots of, this room, you've seen in the previous video, we started this room, we got more to carry on. We'll be carrying on later on today. You can see we started trying out some paint. And we're going to finish off the ceiling, as well. But it's all coming along. Anyway, if you want to see more, please subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one. Look after yourselves, guys. See you later. Bye.